Welcome, everybody. This is Chris with the broadcast, Vertical About Bedsores. Just to give you a little update, 4 weeks ago tomorrow, I went to the doctor. I wasn't feeling well. I had gone for a CAT scan, and he told me that I had terminal cancer with less than 6 months to live. And I really wasn't quite surprised because I had lost like 50 pounds in the last year and felt pretty tired and sluggish. But I sort of kind of thought I had prostate cancer, and it ended up being throat cancer. So anyway, they put me in hospice, and my wife ordered the bed and the oxygen tanks. But I thought, I have an 8-year-old adopted granddaughter, we do, and I thought, well, I'm going to just keep going and one foot in front of the other and try to live my life the way I have for the last 8 years up here in Copper Harbor. My wife had told some people, and I had told some people, and quite frankly, I was amazed at the concern and the outpouring of care that people had for me. So getting to that topic, I had met a couple guys that I always regarded as pretty intelligent people. They were good mechanics, or they were good at their trade and reasonable to deal with. And they told me about, and I am not a voodoo medicine guy. When I was a young guy, I admired a guy named Steve McQueen, the actor. And when he got cancer, he went through all this sort of kind of experimental treatments. I remember he was taking enemas with turpentine. And I've always sort of had a dim view of that kind of stuff. But anyway, finally, there's one of these smart guys I know who's always, had a lot of wisdom. He said, look, the guy tells you got less than 6 months to live. You got an 8-year-old granddaughter that you're upset about, that you're not going to be able to help raise her. And he said, I know guys, and another guy would say, I know another guy or something off the internet. So he said, do yourself a favor and go and get some of this stuff called what is it called? It's called ivermectin. And you know what? Ivermectin paste 1.87. I guess that's the dosage. And they have them in different brand names. Ivermectin. They've got Safeguard. They've got Zimdectarin. But you notice it's almost all the same size and the same ingredients. Ivermectin paste, 1.87. And it says anthelmintic and boticide. And I think the other one says, anthelmintic and boticide. And this one's Duramectin, which I don't think the brand, and Zimdectarin. Same ingredients, same dosage. So Thursday I talked to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist told me that you had to have a prescription from a doctor. And I explained the situation that I was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And she told me you can go down to Farm & Fleet or to what's the other one? Tractor Supply. And they have the same stuff that you get from the pharmacist, they have in squeeze tubes. And now why would they? Now this thing looks like a horse syringe. And guess what? It's made for horses. Every one of these, I think, has a horse on it. And, yeah, every one of them's got a horse on it. There's 2 more horses. And anyway, you look at the side of the thing, and it's got a dosage thing. So, and this is based on how much. I don't know if you can see this, but it's like 150 pounds. It goes up to like 1,250 pounds, which amazes me that there's horses. Those are probably like Clydesdales or something. You got 150 pounds for a colt or a bull, whatever they call them. And then here, the Safeguard's a little different now, okay? Safeguard has a thing called Bendazole. Okay, now these other ones don't have Bendazole, but the Safeguard does. And it's called equine dewormer. But anyway, when I told the pharmacist what I wanted to do, I thought for sure he'd, sort of blow me off as a quack. I think you remember during COVID that they were arresting doctors that were prescribing ivermectin. They were threatening to take their license, and pharmacists refused to fill. First of all, it was hard to get a prescription from a doctor, and if you could, it was also hard to go to Walgreens or Right Way or one of those pharmacies and get a prescription. So supposedly they were all sold out. I think it was more like the government was pressuring everybody. They ordered a lot of that big pharma stuff. You know, he had those 4 shots, and I think they wanted everybody to take those rather than be messing around with this. Although a lot of intelligent people, a lot of doctors recommend it. So anyway, I'll tell you what, I didn't want to wait around for a prescription. I didn't want to go to a doctor. So I went, that was that Moderna stuff that came to mind right now. They had Moderna and they had different brands during COVID that the ivermectin was competing with, and I don't think Big Pharma wanted you to have any of that. But anyway, I'm getting all these personal testimonies. I went to the farm store, got these things. I started taking it on Thursday, and I'm amazed. Thursday night, I was having a hard time breathing at night. Thursday night, and every night since Thursday, Friday, I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and tonight's Sunday. I slept very well. No coughing jags. I had a week and a half ago. I had terrible coughing jags at night, and I'd have to sit up in bed and literally suck in as much air as I could, and I would make a horrid sound, like a whistling sound, and face was twitching. I've been having his face twitch for the pretty bad the last couple of years, probably last 3-4 years. My face would just twitch, and one of the doctors said that it was possibly because that is a sign of when you have cancer to the brain, it messes up your nerves. So I would say the face twitching has decreased by about 80%. Breathing well, voice has been terrible, but like today, I don't know if it's going to restore my voice. Breathing is much better, and the twitching is much better. So they said, this guy told me, this ivermectin, and you just take a little about the size of a toothpaste. You know how you put toothpaste on your toothbrush? You put a little dab on your toothbrush. And now this bendazole, that is a little iffy and a little more questionable, because there was a warning that if you overdose on it or take too much of it, it can mess up your liver. And I don't want to mess up my liver. Not that it really matters if I die in 6 months, but I don't want to mess up anything more than I already had. I got enough stuff messed up on me. So I'm going to be a little more sparing on the safeguard. But honestly, I could immediately feel a difference the first night. And I'm feeling better. And I don't know if it's like, they have those placebos. I don't know what the adjective form is, placebo effect. But this breathing thing is not imaginary. And this non-coughing is not imaginary. And I'm swallowing better. But I'll tell you what the most amazing thing is, and I don't know if I can do this or not, to show you here. If you look at my neck, it's probably going to be pretty hard. It had a big tumor on the left side. But this tumor seems to be shrinking. It seems to be shrinking. And I was excited when I saw the hospice nurse and said, this tumor is shrinking. And I was excited about it. And she basically said, well, I looked at it and I noticed that it was a lot smaller when you walked in. But she said, it's moving to the center of your throat. And then I said, well, what happens then? Well, then she said, it's going to seal your esophagus and eventually you will suffocate to death. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound too good. But I'm going to tell you something. I think she's been dealing with terminally ill people for a long time. I think she knows what she's talking about, but based on her experiences. But my throat doesn't feel as cluttered. Now, that may be from the movement is creating more space for the tumor, or the tumor might be shrinking. And I really don't know, but I'd rather at this point, I'm not a false hope kind of guy, I'm going to beat this thing no matter what. But I've heard, I don't know about you people, anybody else, but this ivermectin, ivermectin is supposed to work miracles. And who knows? What do I have to lose? And I'm just going to try it, and it might save me. And if it doesn't save me, it might slow down the cancer. And if it doesn't slow down the cancer, at least I have the immediate effect of swallowing better, sleeping better, breathing better, and hopefully talking better. Okay, well, thanks a lot for listening.